Welcome back. Gentlemen, our final topic from tonight's show, we'll be discussing the recent interview from Kyrie Irving when he was on ESPN's First Take. And it seemed he gave really short answers, didn't really answer Max and Stephen A's question. That he left a sour distaste about why he left Cleveland. What motivated him to leave the Cavs? Sam, Matt, discuss, debate.
Would you like to go? You want
Yeah,
me
it's
to
your
go?
first
Let's
show.
go.
ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll go first.
Drop the bombs.
What motivated Kyrie to leave Cleveland is simple. He's a Kobe Bryant disciple. Kobe wants to be the guy. He wanted to be the guy. He had Shaquille O'Neal, best player in the world at the time, most dominant player in the world. He wanted to be the guy. He helped run Shaq out of town, but it's just kind of opposite. Kyrie got up out of town. He wants to be the guy. He didn't want to be number two. It's nothing personal against LeBron James, but he does not want to be number two. He wants to be number one. He wants to lead his team to a championship and lead his team to glory. And I don't blame him. He wants to build his own legacy.
You know, you look at the difference between the way Kyrie played when his first couple years before LeBron and then when LeBron got there. Kyrie was much more of a distributor before LeBron came. He got his teammates more involved. He was more of a team player, and he led that offense. But he was still a rookie and still a young player, and he got injured a lot. When LeBron comes along, Kyrie's getting the ball half as many times now because LeBron is like the point forward, and he's going to bring the ball up the court half the time. So now whenever Kyrie gets the ball, he's got to hold it and not give it away, or else he's never going to get the ball back.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Kevin Love when he sits in the corner and the ball never comes to him because LeBron is so difficult to play with. I don't think he's very good of a teammate. He's got 1,000,001 excuses. Kyrie, I think, got tired of all those excuses and having LeBron put the blame on the team for all of his mistakes. Kyrie is a great player. Don't get me wrong, and I agree with you. He wants to be the guy because he didn't have a chance to be the guy before LeBron came because he was injured half the time. So now when you sit there with LeBron, and it's like you have two big personalities clashing on like a radio show, and they keep butting heads, and you could sit there and say both of these guys could be really good on their own, but they could also be really good together. The problem is they don't have that bond together. You know, you saw that with Mike and the Mad Dog on WFAN, and it's the same thing with LeBron and Kyrie. You sit there and you butt heads because both these guys want the ball in their hands down the stretch. Kyrie hit that big shot in Game 7. Yes, he did, but the problem is LeBron gets all those touches for the previous minute and a half. So I think LeBron is one of those guys that he's so much of an alpha male in the locker room and on the sidelines, on the court. I think Kyrie got tired of it because I don't think LeBron is a good teammate.
But here's my thing. LeBron James is the most unselfish superstar of all time.
I agree with
Besides Magic Johnson. He's the most unselfish superstar. How can you say he's that difficult? He gets everybody the ball.
And I agree with that. The problem,
everybody's job easier.
But
he's
the problem,
a champion.
the
He's
problem
a
is
leader.
he's trying to play Kyrie's position. So
What
is
do you
Kyrie going to
mean?
do?
He's a point forward. That's what he does.
Yeah, so he's bringing the ball up, and Kyrie doesn't know how to play off the ball because he never did at Duke. He never played throughout his life off the ball. He always had the ball in his hand.
Okay, but if you have two superstars on the team, somebody's going to have to play off the ball at some point.
Yeah,
It's gonna have to
LeBron.
happen.
LeBron's 6'8". Let him go to the basket.
It's not about height. It's a new age NBA. Height means nothing.
Okay,
That's LeBron James. He's one of the
Listen,
best passers in the NBA.
My thing with this is this, and that Kyrie not only was tired of playing with LeBron and trying to be the guy, but I think he was also fearful of LeBron getting out of Cleveland.
I can agree with that.
And I think he's really nervous of the fact that LeBron jettisons to LA, and he's like, oh, well, you're just going to leave me here with Tristan Thompson's contract and Kevin Love's lack of confidence?
Oh, Jesus.
Like it's almost it's a better team than what he had pre-LeBron, but it's still not going to be as good as when he has LeBron, and he's so scared of that to the point when he could go to a team like the Spurs, or he ended up going to the Celtics, but the Spurs were on his list, of a team that he could really be the guy, and they could still make a finals push. And
True.
he was just fearful of being stuck in the city of Cleveland because I don't think anyone wants to live there or play there.
There's nothing in Cleveland but tires and pictures of LeBron James.
I agree.
Cleveland is boring.
That's the only thing that's in
Cleveland is boring.
And I think that Kyrie's also a guy that needs a little bit of that coaching push. And Tyronn Lue's a guy who's very laissez-faire and hands-off and kind of lets LeBron direct the show. But I think Kyrie not only wants to be able to do that, but he also needs a little bit of that guidance too. And that's why I think he wanted to go to a player or a coach like Popovich in San Antonio.
See,
or
but
he
here's
wants
my
to go
thing.
to a player or a coach like Brad Stevens.
If he said he wanted to go to San Antonio, but if he went to San Antonio, he's not going to be the ball dominant guy. That's not what Greg Popovich does. He's never been like that.
Yeah, but he's still going to be
that
the
ball is
guy.
gonna
He
move
wouldn't be
around.
the face
You
too.
could be the
Kawhi would
guy
be
and
the
not
face.
hold the ball for 20 seconds.
He would be the guy in San Antonio
Kawhi
over
would be
Kawhi
the
Leonard?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, he would not.
Oh.
Absolutely not.
I'm saying
Absolutely
the
not.
guy in the sense that when you have the ball, let's define the guy here. My definition of the guy is the guy with under 30 seconds left, shot clock's dead, under 24 or whatever, that you give him the ball and you say go.
LeBron gave him the ball in Cleveland. He hit the game-winning shot to win the championship.
But that was still
he
a 50-50
would consistently
split.
give him the ball.
That was still a 50-50 split between the two.
It'd be 50-50 with Kawhi.
I
Kawhi's not going to be not taking the shot all the time.
But my thing is, I don't trust Kawhi down the stretch as much as Kyrie. I think
Kyrie's one of the most clutchest players in the NBA.
Kawhi is the guy that you run, and he's the guy for most of the game. But I'm talking about my definition of the guy is in the final 2 minutes, who's going to be handling the ball? It's going to be Kyrie.
It's not just going to be Kyrie. There's no way that
But in Boston, it's going to be that.
Well, yes, because it's a difference between Kawhi Leonard and Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward's the second best player on the roster.
Okay.
The ball ain't going to be in Gordon Hayward. It's going to be in Kyrie's hand.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have worked if he would have went to San Antonio. That's what I'm saying. Because it would have been the same
I brought
dilemma.
up San Antonio because he mentioned San Antonio. He mentioned the Spurs, he mentioned the Knicks, and he mentioned, I believe, another team.
Who wants to play for the Knicks? That is
Apparently, I don't know why. He's out of his mind.
That's career suicide.
I'd stay in Cleveland.
But to answer the original question of why there's a distaste with the Cavs, and you know, you have all those changes and the lack of moves early on in the offseason with all the GM changes.
The ownership is absolutely dreadful.
It's a miscommunication between not only LeBron, but also the coaches and also the ownership and also the GM to where no one is on the same page. And I think Kyrie got tired of that. And I say San Antonio because he could go there and that's a well-run organization. Boston is a well-run organization. The problem with Cleveland is they're all over the place because LeBron is slamming his fist on the table and saying, do this, get me Kyle Korver, get me Richard Jefferson, get me Channing Frye, and they go out and burn all their first-round draft picks. Cleveland has no future after the next couple of years because they burned all their picks to get Kyle Korver.
And they have Kyle Korver had an off year last year. Before that, he was always a top 5 3-point shooter in the NBA.
He's in his 30s. And they have the albatross of Tristan Thompson's contract on their books, too, that they're not going to get off for another 3 to 4 years.
You can agree on that.
Well, we can agree to disagree. I kind of side with you. LeBron is difficult to play with. Every time there's a miscommunication or a lack defensive coverage. He does blame other players, but then, like I said,
tired of the excuses.
Kyrie does want his own team.
I mean, what else?
He
can
got that
LeBron
Kobe
do?
mentality.
He could stop putting the blame on other people and be a leader and take ownership for the
Or he could go to LA next year.
He could go to LA.
LeBronzo. We call it in 2018 LeBronzo.
All right.
Well, we'll be right back here with the Extra Point on Hawk TV, channel 12.1.